What happens when one of the world's best climbers steps into the world of arm wrestling? Does insane grip and arm strength and finger endurance translate into arm wrestling dominance? Or is Magnus Midtbø, at the end of the day, just chasing a trend? Magnus Midtbø has recently made a collaboration video with notorious arm wrestler Devon Larratt.
So I've come all the way to Ottawa to meet Devon Larratt.
And in it, they go over some of the arm wrestling fundamentals. At some points, Magnus seems to be completely oblivious to the rules and intricacies of the sport. However, his journey into arm wrestling didn't start recently. In this video, we'll take a look at Magnus Midtbø's previous arm wrestling experiences, whether or not his elite climbing skills translate to the table, and if he and others like him are just milking the sport as a passing fad. Midtbø's main passion is clearly climbing. It's what he excels at most, and what he essentially built his entire career on. However, as with most people who are climbing the ranks of online stardom, his own on-camera character started shining through.
It must have been the 2 pizzas and 2 ice creams yesterday.
It seems people liked what they saw, and Magnus's easygoing, usually rather laid-back attitude seemed to resonate with a lot of his viewers. However, much like arm wrestling, at the end of the day, climbing remained a relatively niche sport within the grand scheme of things, something Magnus would try to overcome eventually. In March of 2017, Magnus started vlogging, showing his viewers the more everyday aspects of his life. Instead of only posting climbing content, Magnus now talked about his hectic life at that point and him starting and managing a business.
I think how a gym is run is more important than how it's built. So we need to make sure that it's run properly. Like we have good route setters and nice staff and good instructors and all that stuff. And
while this vlog was building up a small but dedicated following, it wasn't until September of that same year that he achieved his first breakthrough with a 2-minute video, simply titled "One Arm Muscle Up," sitting currently at over 3 million views. Magnus's channel continued to steadily grow, but it wasn't until 1 year later, now in September of 2018, that a new era of Magnus Midtbø, the content creator, had truly started. Juji Mufu, another popular fitness influencer, first featured in a video of Magnus trying out climbing, from which point on the Norwegian climber would start leaning into collaborations and challenge videos more heavily. He often tried out different disciplines in the process, and by the start of 2019, Juji had been getting more involved with arm wrestling and was also filming content, often arm wrestling related, with Devon Larratt.
I want to do the dad move on you.
No, the dad dude move doesn't work on me.
You can do it on me.
One of the ideas explored by Juji Mufu at that time was seeking out climbers that wanted to give arm wrestling a try. Climbers develop strong arm and finger strength over time and look to be, at least from the outside, athletes that would often have a natural gift for the sport of arm wrestling. It didn't take long until Juji got Magnus on one of these videos, marking what appears to be Magnus's first time properly arm wrestling on an actual arm wrestling table.
Magnus is here, and I know you guys want to see his hands are super strong, his body's super strong, and he's a cordial gentleman, so I think he'd be good at arm wrestling.
yeah, I don't know.
Although his actual amount of table time was rather limited in this video, Magnus showed good arm strength and was guided somewhat by Juji on semi-proper technique. We did get to see a lot of climbers try arm wrestling for the first time, and being quite good at it too, and in the process showing some genuine interest in trying the sport. By March of 2020, Magnus had already dabbled in arm wrestling, but it seems he wanted to explore the sport further and learn from people who actually knew what they were doing. He appeared together with Ninja Warrior Anton Fomenko in a Juji Mufu video where he would test his skills on the table under the guidance of a local arm wrestling club.
If you can.
Yeah.
Because what that's going to do is that's going to stop me from pronating.
Yeah, okay.
That's where you're going to seal that off from.
Okay.
Try to bring your elbow back just a little bit more.
Yeah, so after I grip, then I pull it back a little bit?
Well,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
From this video, it becomes clear that Midtbø possessed a great deal of arm strength and could somewhat convert it to actual arm wrestling. However, his movements were clearly still those of a beginner, and he often found himself in less than safe positions. Nevertheless, Magnus, showing a deep interest in the sport and his willingness to learn, ingratiated himself with the greater arm wrestling community. Not long after, now the following month, Devon Larratt featured in a Magnus video titled World's Strongest Arms vs. Rock Climbing. Although no actual arm wrestling took place, this did however confirm that the two were at the very least properly acquainted with each other.
Okay, so now I look normal.
Yeah.
And then
Head way back, shoulders forward.
No.
Yeah, but you can pull your head down.
Back your
like,
chin.
Yeah.
Back your chin.
Yes, and now even more forward with your arms.
That's working.
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
In April of 2023, Magnus published what would go on to become one of his best performing arm wrestling videos, with what is now a staple amongst fitness influencers, namely the Man on the Street arm wrestling challenge videos. Magnus teamed up with the Arm Wrestling Whisperer and went out on the streets to let people try and beat them at arm wrestling to win a cash prize. From this video, it's clear Magnus was better at arm wrestling than the average person on the street, and he was using multiple different techniques while on the table. These types of videos have become kind of a meme amongst people in the arm wrestling community though, as it's often a one-off by a fitness influencer, totally unfamiliar with the sport, trying to duplicate the success of similar videos. Although not the first to do it, this seems to have started with the infamous schoolboy videos, where arm wrestlers sometimes don the most ridiculous masks to make the video that bit more clickable. I'm certainly grateful that at least Magnus didn't go quite that far in his own video. In fact, only 1 month before his own video with the Arm Wrestling Whisperer, Magnus did exactly that in a video with Brandon William and Chris Hera, where the three dressed up like grandpas, challenging people to fitness feats. One of them even being arm wrestling. And of course, the very collaboration we started this video with. In March of 2025, Magnus visited Devon Larratt and family to get some insights on their arm wrestling training. Throughout the video, Magnus arm wrestles Devon, as well as his 2 sons, who are also arm wrestlers, Auden and Milo. Magnus clearly presents himself as more of a newbie than he actually is, presumably somewhat of a strategy for the video's presentation, but shows he is still interested in learning the technical aspects of the sport and showcasing it in a clean and respectful way, as he usually does in his videos.
It's good, it's good. Keep climbing, Magnus, keep climbing. Don't stop climbing. I love weight categories.
We've also seen Magnus interact with Larry Wheels in several collaborational videos. None of them so far have been about arm wrestling, but seeing as Larry Wheels was at one point heavily invested in the sport, and Magnus showed at least some interest in exploring arm wrestling further, it seems like the two of them making an arm wrestling video at some point in the future is not impossible. On the other hand, a lot of fitness content creators, influencers, and even strongmen were and are seemingly jumping on the arm wrestling train to varying degrees.
Yeah! Get me out of here! Get me out of here!
And it would make sense that Magnus saw the arm wrestling videos he's featured in so far as an opportunity to cash in on the trend as well, and will stop producing arm wrestling content altogether after this. That doesn't seem to be the case anytime soon though, as Jeff Dape, who's also made his rounds amongst the modern fitness influencers, known for his huge hands, has alluded to having done a collaboration with Magnus. No footage has been released so far, but we can only imagine how that would look. It's clear to me from the available evidence we have that Magnus certainly possesses a good amount of strength on the arm wrestling table.
Go. Oh, Magnus! Ooh, Magnus!
Just watch his angle, watch his position.
Yeah, careful, Magnus. Yeah, there you go.
Probably still lacks the amount of table time necessary to truly live up to his potential. He still makes many mistakes one would grow to expect from a novice arm wrestler, but seems keen to learn when he is faced with more experienced pullers. Now, do I think Magnus could be a good, maybe even great arm wrestler? Yes, I do. But I also think he could be good at nearly any sport if he truly committed himself to it. And this is where the disconnect kind of happens. Magnus has no reason to commit himself to arm wrestling, and has also never really alluded to wanting to do so to any great degree. He has, after all, fully evolved from world-class climber to an all-around fitness influencer, whether he sees it that way or not. Keeping that in mind, I'm just happy that arm wrestling was one of the many things he sampled in order to keep the eternal content grinder satiated. These kinds of collaborations that bridge different sporting disciplines, however superficial and passing they sometimes appear, can only help to grow our sport in the long run.